What up, party people? I uh I found a new place to sit, so hopefully the lighting is a little better. It was kind of strange the last couple days because I was backlit. Um, Today I'm going to talk about routines and adjusting routines and how we tend to lose our identity when we need to adjust to a new place, a new environment, a new job, a new relationship. I've noticed, and it really like came across today, how big of an adjustment just being in a new place is, and how the days can just kind of pass you by because you're trying to not fit it all in, but new places especially, there's different timing for things. Uh, like for example, the trash. They don't have trash pickup here, so you have to take trash to the transit station, and it's only open a few days a week. So you have to time when you take, how long. So let's say I took all my trash out of the house today and put it in the trash barrels. I have to consider when the next transit day is open so that my trash isn't sitting outside, getting warm, getting rotten. Um, maybe so you have to time it for like maybe 1 day instead of 4 days. And that really plays into schedules, routines. Um, I I just realized how much in my life I've changed a job, I've changed a relationship, I've changed places I've lived, and every single time my routine has changed, and every single time my identity has changed, and sometimes in really big ways and sometimes in small ways. And it all starts to add up. And a big example for me in this moment is I've been really trying to make sure I do my non-negotiables every single day. That's why they're called non-negotiables. They don't get negotiated out of the schedule. So, um, what may have worked in one place to do like a walk and these videos, you know, in the morning, let's say, doesn't work now that I'm in a place where like the mornings are full. So it's easy to let the chores, jobs, partners creep into your time, and then suddenly you realize you're exhausted and it's time to go to bed, but you still haven't worked out, you still haven't done your videos. I'm saying this like using myself as an example, but I realize how many times, especially exercise, especially healthy eating habits, those have always probably changed the most over the years just because I'm in a new environment or just because I'm in a new job or time zone or place. Because, going to the grocery store, it might be super easy in one place and it's super difficult in another. Or certain places might not have the kind of foods I like to eat. Or cooking sounds like a lot of work. So it's the last thing I want to do. So maybe I'm with people, especially when I'm with crew members, maybe they like to eat out more than cook, so I tend to eat out more than I cook. And so then my healthy habits and my eating and my exercise tend to change and kind of adjust to whoever I'm surrounded by. And it's not always the best for me. Being here and realizing all of this has has made it so apparent how much my life has changed just on these adjustments and micro adjustments I've made again in jobs, relationships, places. And, you hear a lot of people say things like, I just feel so lost, or I feel like I lost myself. And I think part of it is just what we held important before that change slowly eroded away because we put other things above that. We made, we want to do good at our job. So we make our job, the most important thing. And then everything else kind of goes below that. Or our relationship, well, let me go back to job. We're trying to get a promotion. So we're going in early, we're working late. And suddenly your partner, you're spending less time with your partner. So now your relationship's eroding. And I think a lot of us at first, because we're so focused on the thing that we are trying to make happen, we're not seeing those small erosions happening over time. And what's difficult is being intentional when you do start a new job, or you do move to a new place, or you do start dating someone new, being intentional in what is important to you and keeping it important to you. And now I realize in life things change. Like, you know, maybe one year you don't have a kid, the next year you're pregnant, and then the next year you have a kid. So obviously your life is going to adjust. But if exercise is super important to you before the kid, it still should be super important to you after you have the kid. Obviously, it's very important to take care of your child, but it's also very important to take care of yourself. So, making sure if exercise was super important to you before, it needs to stay super important to you after. And just, communicating with your job, your spouse, whoever is helping you, or maybe you're a single mother and nobody's helping you, figuring out a way, even if it's like doing 30 minutes of floor exercises every morning before your kid wakes up. And I know, like, I don't have kids, so I know that I might be creating a bigger uh, argument here, but I really think that making sure that the things that are important to you stay important even when life is changing and even when it feels like you don't have time for it. I think the other thing that when you're being intentional about the new place, the new job, uh, keeping things important, I think another thing that we tend to do that distracts us from those important things is TV and even reading books. And I've noticed this in myself as well, is I moved to a new place. I used to exercise a lot because the gym was right next door. Well, I no longer live in that place. I live, you know, 15 minutes drive from a gym or 30 minutes drive from a gym. So now I stopped going to the gym, but I haven't started some sort of other routine to like fill that space. And then I start watching more TV, right? Because I'm exhausted, or uh, I had to stay late at work today. And we start to make excuses for ourselves. We start to blame other people for these things that we're no longer doing when really we're no longer making them a priority and keeping our non-negotiables non-negotiable. Suddenly they become negotiable because in my last example, well, the gym's 30 minutes away, so and I just worked really late, so I'm not going to go to the gym today. And then it turns into the next day and the next day, and pretty soon I haven't gone to the gym for like a month, and then I'm like, well, might as well cancel that membership because it's just a waste of money, or um you just keep paying this membership that you never use. And so I want to just come back to identity in all of this because slowly eroding those important things in our life, it starts to change our identity and we start to become a totally different person. And I've noticed for myself that I wasn't as happy. And I think I was doing that, not the blame game, but just making excuses. Um, oh, I just traveled, the other day I traveled for like 17 hours and blah, 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 blah. I made a video saying I didn't get to my walk today. I actually walked after that video on the treadmill. I got off the video and I was staring at this treadmill and I'm like, wait, just because I'm not walking outside doesn't mean I can't walk today. I can walk on this treadmill. And so even in that moment, I was like starting to make excuses for myself, like, well, I'm jet lagged, I traveled really far, like I deserve a day off. But that's the whole thing for me right now is these non-negotiables. They are important to me for certain reasons, and so they have to stay important, or it's going to slowly chip away at the person I'm trying to become, because I don't want to slide back into that person who watches TV instead, or goes out with friends instead of um, getting that one thing done that I told myself I was going to get done that day. So I do feel like this is also why a lot of people stay stuck because they know if they change their job, they change their environment, boyfriend, anything, they're going to have to adjust. They are going to have to change as well. And I think sometimes we become so comfortable in the identity we've created, even though it's not the ideal identity that we want, we decide, well, this is comfortable. And I know if I move to that place and be a writer, um, all these things are going to have to change and I'm not ready. Or, I don't have the money, or we start making excuses because we get comfortable in this place. And I think that's why so many of us are depressed and lonely and not happy in what we're doing because we're too afraid to make that change because we don't want to adjust and we know it's going to change our identity. Um, so yeah, a little food for thought for the day. I just have been mulling this over and I hope that it brought up some things that maybe you've been thinking about or some of the non-negotiables that you used to have that you want to make non-negotiable again and what you could eliminate that you think is important but really isn't. You know, um, like watching that last episode of Stranger Things. It'll still be there another day. I don't know why I just thought it about that. Um, yeah, so anyway, thank you for being here.